Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Calculator Champion. Um, I really didn't want to. I didn't want to hit you with back-to-back calculator videos. This was supposed to be a video about can tier 6 medals make somebody who's decent into somebody who's good, and then the game threw me for a loop. The tier 6 medals are going to be a lot different of a way of thinking about the game, I think, than anybody really has kind of prepared for. Merrick's and Champions Chat both did great videos on tier 6 medals, and I will link them both in the description. But I'm the type of person that if I don't have the ability to mess around with it and take a look at it for myself, I can't quite conceptualize it. They're just numbers on a screen, even though, numbers turn out to be kind of my thing. They don't make sense to me until I figure out what the numbers actually mean. Because what you don't understand, you can make mean anything. So you got to understand it first. So initially I was going to do a video on Tama Tonga and my takedown threes and figure out if we could make them good. And while the answer is sort of, kind of, what the tier 6 medals revealed to me was so kind of broke my brain a little bit, and I had to sit and kind of figure some stuff out to figure out why it was reacting the way it was reacting. So first, let's show off what I came up with, and I'm a little bit limited in how I can run this because of the medals that I got, and I'll show you that here in a second. But the whole idea is the belly to back suplex, do 600k damage, increase all your move damage by 100% for one turn. These moves are always great. One of the reasons I want to do Tama Tonga. The Samoan drop, deal 1,000,000 damage, choose 5 to make into blue so you can kind of recycle some stuff. And then Power Slam, do 1.3 million damage and choose 5 to make into green. So recycle the Samoan drop, right? So you can see it. You start with one of these two loaded, you loaded the other two, you go on, so on and so forth. I think in an ideal world, you'd start with blue so you can hit this first and get the boost everywhere else. Now, I can't do that because my only takedown 3 is green. All right, so let's do it backwards. Let's see what it does. I'm catching 250% from this one, 100% for the set, and then a 50% move damage strap. I obviously want this to be larger, but for the purposes of this video, this is fine. I'm doing 416% extra green move damage. 416%. It's 250 from here, 50 from here, 100 from here, so that's 253, 416% in substats from somewhere. Cool. That's baller. Entourage, I've loaded up on green gym damage. This does work in Feud. We get 100% here. We get 40% here, and then another 30% here. Okay, so 30, 40 is 70 plus 100. That's 170 plus the 416 gets us to 586%. Base damage here is 5820 multiplied by, what was it, 586, I think. Yeah, so we multiply by 6.86. Every time we hit the green move, it should be 7 million. After we hit this, it should turn into 14 million. Hopefully we can do it twice in one turn and we get 21 million. So let's take it for a spin. Where am I at here? Here. We should have had this set up, huh? And we'll pick on Scott Steiner. Big Papa Pump. So we're going to anticipate doing 21 million damage plus however much damage we get from the blue moves, which are going to be boosted by 150%, plus any substats that I didn't pay any attention to. So 21 plus maybe another 10, another 31. So we'll bring it down to what, 36 million or so. So there's 6.9. It's a little bit less because he does have some move damage going on, move damage defense. But that's fine. Doesn't this should load everything, and it does. Now we pop this. We're doing 1.6 from this move. We're doing 7 million from this move. And we got enough here so that we need to break 6 green. Get reloaded. This is probably the worst way of doing it. Whatever. Hey, we're still up there. Now we're doing, you know, that 14-ish that I was talking about. This is going to be the pin, so let's just load up as much damage as we can, and let's see what happens. Nice cascade. We're at 36. My man's doing no gem damage. Right? He's not doing any gem damage. And I know in my head one of the takedown 3 medals is 80% gem defense. But it didn't quite jive with what I thought about the game. I mean, this is the beginning of the hardest tour in the game. It is a 6-star gold superstar. He does have a strap on him. Like, what's happening here, right? So I went in and I looked, and what's happening is I've got substats coming out of my ears. I have 138.73% gem defense from a set of takedown 3s. Now this 138.73 is a number that a couple years ago we would use that number to cheese our way through tours. We did it last week. We cheesed our way through the Fearless Nikki Bella tour. We just loaded up with gem defense and beat everybody. So this is coming just from these 4 guys right here. I was like, it can't possibly make that much of a difference, right? And the answer is yes. Yes, it can. Get back into the game here. Let's take a look at his stats. He's a 1 everywhere except for red. That didn't make any sense to me either. Like, why is it just red? So you go over here to bonuses and you start looking. And we got 20% gem damage here, plus you keep on scrolling. You get 18% here, plus this 3.44. All right. And then I'm not going to go too in the weeds with gem defense math yet. Haven't done enough testing to talk about it confidently, but I think I know how it works. The first 100% of gem defense is just your base gem damage. All right. So if you take this 141 and almost 2/3% and you add the 100% for base gem damage, he's got a red gem boost of almost 141 and 2/3%. And that spells disaster for Samoa Joe at Sacrifice. It's got to be intentional by Scopely. It's just too coincidental. Anyway. But yeah, so I'm at 141.44% on the red gems, but my gem defense is 138.73. Now, I haven't done this math, but I bet if you go look at Scott Steiner's base red gem damage and you multiply it by 0.0271, I bet you get 1.79. 1,790. I bet you do. I think that's the way it works. I bet that's the way it works. So we've wiped out his offense. You know, obviously he's a bleed character and stuff like that, but by wiping out offense, I mean, we've wiped out his ability to kick out. Even if he matches a bunch of red, he's not going to be able to do it. Right? Here, watch. Will this load my blues? I think it will. And we hit the buff. We got to break 6 green. I'm going to be a little lazy about it because it doesn't matter. Even if we do cascade. And we won't. You know, I know that there's some kick out math that I don't quite have my head wrapped around yet. I'll get there. It's on my list of things to do. I know it has something to do with the health bar up here and how many little chiclets you have left. Corresponds to the amount of boost that you get from your kick out. But look, it doesn't matter. Right? That was only a 16 million pin, and we've completely wiped out Scott Steiner. And it's 141 and almost 2/3% red gem damage. So the next thing I did is I went and I tried to find somebody who was a little bit beefier. And in this tour, it turns out that actually Sami Zayn is a little bit beefier for a reason that I always forget about. So I'm just going to go ahead and hop into game first. I'll show you. So his gem damage is significantly higher. That Santa is a 31k Santa. You can barely see it, but it's a 31k Santa. That's an 18k increase. Now, you can turn that 18k into a percentage if you really need to, but you got to go find base gem damage and do some math and et cetera, et cetera. And I think there's an easier way to do it, but I need to do some testing and I'm not confident talking about it. But so there's 18k per gem there. And if you look at his bonuses, you will also get, 20% plus, scroll down, 18% here. Plus on black gems, you'll get 3.78. So 41.78. Class advantage, plus 25%. Plus the 100% he gets because that's the base gem damage, minus my 138.73. So he's getting 28%, roughly 28% of all his base gem damage, plus the 18k. And that's why these numbers are so low comparatively. He's supposed to be hitting around 141,000 per black, and now he's hitting 38,700. That's a difference of about 100,000, a little bit more. I think it's 102,000 per gem. I mean, it's completely neutered this guy's ability to kick out. It's completely neutered his gem offense. Just completely wiped it out from a set of takedown 3s. I'm going to keep stressing that. This is a move damage medal series, right? Get these 4 medals, increase your move damage. And also, evidently, gain over 100% gem defense. And I think this is important. I kind of think it's a very important, to be honest with you. This means any opponent that you run into in feud or showdown, if you're running tier 6s and you've got them all maxed out and you come across somebody who is not, somebody who's running a goofy setup, you're kind of going to be able to take care of them. Let's check it, see if I can find one. I might not be. This guy's running some defense. Green gems do more damage. Reinforced gems do damage. So that's, what is he, 40 and then 100 there, 140 all reinforces. There's a big strap. There's 2 Fury 2s, right? So if I had a decent card, I could run into this and be just fine, because I would be able to neuter so much of this buff. I just don't feel confident doing that with Tama Tonga. But people who have very weird setups, aren't paying attention to their straps, aren't paying attention to their entourage, can't run an entourage, you're going to absolutely wipe them out. And this has been said before. Where things get interesting is people who do have tier 3 set up, are going to have this gem defense baked in. I haven't even talked about move defense because I don't quite know how that works yet. Don't quite know how move damage works yet. I've got a really good idea. It'll be a video for later, but I haven't done enough testing to be confident on it. But everybody's going to have this baked in amount of massive damage reduction on both sides. You know, you've got your best card set up with your tier 3s, and you've got all your substats are running. Here's the other thing, talking about substats. Let me get back into this one real quick. Come on, game. Is you're going to be able to min-max pretty well, I think. Well, let's get a little bit more granular here, right? So I've got black move damage doesn't help. Gem defense we've already talked about. Red gem damage would be great if this, you know, had a side effect of red gem damage anywhere. Green move damage, here's that 16 I was picking up. Over here, all move defense, another 30% on top of this 150 I'm getting. So that's 180% move defense. If you're running a move, I think the way this works is if you're running a move and the only other thing that you have boosting your move is like, let's call it this right here, it's 250. If it works the way I think it works, you'll have 350% of your move damage, 100 of it coming from the move itself, 250 from here. Right here you got 150 and then 30 coming away from it. So you're at a difference of like 80. You've taken that person's boosted up move and dropped it down to 80% effectiveness from base. I think. I could be wrong. What if you make sure you got move defense on everything? Here's another move defense on here. It's 33.49. Like, okay, now I'm at 213.49, I think it is. Or 203.49. No, 213. No, 203. 203.49. Now the opponent who was running at 350% is really starting to get cut into. Over here, I've got another move defense of 30%. I mean, seriously. And these are pretty common substats from what I can tell. %, 0.49. These gems alone, or these metals alone, have completely, against an opponent who's also running tier 6s, let's call them Furies or whatever, at 243.5, let's call it, against this right here, it just completely wipes it out. This metal is no longer useful. That metal's damage no longer gets added to it. And if this person's running Furies, then your move damage, if you're not running move damage entourage, is now 7%, 6.5% of what it normally was, I think. If not, it's still pretty wiped out. Sorry, your move damage would be 106.5. 106.51. That's not a lot of damage, especially even in the 6-star gold meta. You're wiping out moves that dramatically. That's a severe reduction in offense. So both you and your opponent's going to be running all of this stuff that is essentially going to kind of equal each other out. These metals are not a significant buff in any way. These metals are a equalizer, but you both have to have them. And once everybody does have them, the overall damage output of both your opponent and yourself is going to decrease, I think. Or it's going to increase in such a negligible way that we're not going to be able to tell much of a difference. And I think that explains stuff like this. 6 million finisher. But we all know that this gets gnarly, right? Set him up with, green finishers do 150% more. Green moves deal 30% more damage. Another green finisher, that's 230%. And then you're running gem damage trap 230 plus 180. Okay, that's 410 on top of this. So this 6 million turns into 24 real fast. You hit this, that 24 turns into 48 real fast. You see what I'm saying? Not even taking into account, my bad, this right here, which is 200%. This number gets really obnoxious really fast, right? There you go, 610. This number gets obnoxious really fast. It gets really big. When last month when this card was released, there's nothing you can do. You can't touch this. You can't mess with it whatsoever. He's doing 40. The way it's set up right here, it's doing 42 million before even touching the flow vision move. You touch the flow vision move, you're doing 84 million, something like that. These are all numbers off the back of my head. If they're wrong, roast me in the comments. But I regularly one click with just the finisher, and it's about 42 million, 40, somewhere around. Anyway, these metals are designed to limit the effectiveness of stuff like this, I think. Right? Here's the 610%. What was the defense that I've got on my 4 metals? Roughly 250. All right. So now we're increasing that 6 million finisher by 18. So now we're at 24 million finisher. You hit the Emerald Flow Vision, we're at 48. That's a lot more manageable. It's still huge. I'm not going to lie. It's a big number. You add everything else into it, it's going to be hard to deal with. But this is also plus 99. I'm not going to be able to run Gable. Well, yeah, I probably could but other cards that come out that are going to be, weird in this kind of way are going to get neutered by the new metals. Right? Asuka's going to drop in effectiveness. She makes the board yellow, and most of the yellow is reinforced gems. But I think the way it would work is the gem defense would crunch into, or take a huge bite out of so much of that damage. Especially, it's going to be interesting once everybody gets this. And I think it will change the meta, because I think you're going to have to start thinking about your straps and your metals more than we spend a lot of time thinking about plates. We spend some time thinking about your entourage. Metals, man, we just toss those suckers on there. Can we put a full set of Fury 2s on? Great. Full set of Takedown 2s? Fantastic. How many of you guys even think about the percentage, gem defense and move defense? I've started to in the past 90 days or so. Just to get a little bit of extra advantage on some of my more borderline cards for feuds, but it's not a huge deal. Now it's a huge deal. Now you have to, one, they give you nothing but percentages, but you got to look at the substats and be like, hey, how do I crank up as much gem defense as I can? Those tier 6s with all 3 substats or 4 substats unlocked, and then you max it out, so you're bonusing all that stuff up. That's going to be huge. Merrick's and I talked about this being wrestling Diablo. The Champions Chat video, Lee said, basically people are going to start looking for god rolls on their medals, and I don't think he's wrong. I think we are going to start looking for god rolls on our just to eke out however much more advantage we can get. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. And while tier 6 medals aren't the easiest to get right now, Fury 2s weren't the easiest to get when they were released. And now I've got enough Fury 2 medals where I can pitch the flat ones and just keep the percentage ones. Right? They're going to be available. We're going to have to pay attention to it. Anyway, this sent me down such a wild rabbit hole. I will probably do on my list of things to do is move damage and how to and how the math behind that works. But I may skip it and do gym defense next because that seems like it's going to be super important, in my opinion. I don't really know how to test it, but I'll figure it out. I think I have enough of the tools to do it. Multiply gyms are going to be a little bit of a problem. So if anybody really understands how gym defense works and wants to help a brother out, hit me up on Discord. I'm in most of the, I'm probably in the same Discords as you. If not, leave me a comment on YouTube. I'll find you somehow. But that's it. If you've been entertained by anything today, if you've learned anything today, or if you just like the sound of my voice, do me a favor, click like, click subscribe, share to your faction mates. I'll talk to you next time.